What's going on, ladies and gents? Back again for another episode here. Was supposed to be out on Lake Okeechobee working this morning, but woke up to a radar that looked absolutely horrible. As you can see, it's very dark and gloomy. The rain finally just stopped. It's probably 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And we woke up to, like I said, just pouring down rain and wind. So ended up rescheduling the trip to a later date. And as you can see behind me here to the west, we do have some bluebird skies popping up. And what this was a cold front blowing through. So the air temperature is fixing to drop yet again. It probably will be 25, 30 degrees colder, probably 25 degrees colder before it gets dark out here. So ended up rescheduling the trip, just got to sleep in, had a day off finally, to where I wasn't taking it out on the lake. Slept in, woke up, got a lot of work done in the nursery, prepping for our little baby boy coming in April. He may even come a little bit earlier now. We're kind of in panic mode trying to get everything done. And then just came out, took care of the animals. You can see they're all back there happy, eating, quiet. The ducks just got done with their bath in the kiddie pool. So thought I'd take a little bit to shoot a video for you guys. A video that I probably should have made months ago. And it's a video to answer a question that I get asked on every single trip. And the question is, why, because I run 99% of my trips either on Lake Okeechobee or down in the Everglades or in some kind of freshwater fishery, why do I choose to run a boat like this as opposed to a standard bass boat, a Ranger, a Phoenix, a Camus, a Blazer bass boat, any of the other typical bass boats you see? Why do I choose to run a flat/bay boat? So I'm going to tell you why. So for those of you that don't know, this is my boat. This is the boat I run. Obviously, it's a 2021 Blazer 675 Ultimate Bay boat. Absolutely love the looks of this thing. Still can't believe I'm fortunate enough to own one. This was my dream boat since they first came out. I've been drooling over these things. And really what it came down to was, and I'll get into it here in the video, is the layout is absolutely perfect for what I do and how I do it, which I'll get into. And you know, this style of boat is just, it's a big boat. It's 22 foot. I think it's got like I forget how wide it is. I should know, but I don't. But it handles rough water well. It's very fast, so I can tournament fish out of this boat and also guide comfortably out of it. So yeah, this is what I run. Absolutely love the thing, and we'll get into the pros and cons here in the video. Okay, so why the flats style boat as opposed to the bass boat? A big reason most of the guides are going to this style boat out here on Lake Okeechobee, one of the biggest reasons is just right here, no carpet, right? So I know you guys are probably saying you can get a Ranger Intercoastal or you can get a bass boat and get it sea decked or with no carpet. These boats just come standard with no carpet. And yes, the carpet is very comfortable. It might look a little bit better. It hides a lot of the dirt. You can see my boat is a disaster right now. But here's the thing, people, you got to think of it this way. If you are in our shoes, my shoes, if you're just a standard fisherman, tournament fisherman, when do you fish? You typically get to fish 1 day a week, correct? On a Saturday or a Sunday, if you're lucky, if you don't have things to do around the house. So that means if you fish 1 day a week, you're fishing 52 times in a year, okay? So that means there's 52 days in the year where you're going from your driver's seat, stepping up onto your front deck and fishing on your front deck for the day. I fish, I don't know how many days a year I fish, but right now, lately, it's been every day, every single day for the past 4 months. So what does that mean? One, that's 200 days just in the past couple months or something. I don't know, you're asking me to do math I can't do, but it's a lot of me getting from that driver's seat, stepping up and running this trolling motor. And that's just me. That's not counting the 2 other sets or 3 other sets of feet walking around this boat. So that's the way I tell people is carpet's great, but carpet does go bad, especially here in the Florida sun, constantly getting rained on, the humidity, it eats it up, and you're stuck recarpeting your boat quite often, honestly, especially when you have that much foot traffic in your boat, whether it's on the front deck, the back deck, your carpet takes a beating. Also, it's not just you, or not in my case, not just me using the boat. You have clients getting in the boat. You have clients, you know, spilling things, bringing kids in the boat. You know, I'll never forget when I was running Breezy's boat for a little bit there while my boat was in the shop. The first customer I picked up, not 1, 2 extra. I didn't know Dunkin' Donuts could pour an iced coffee this size, but he had 2 of them filled to the brim. waiting for him to get in the boat. Him and his family, they walk up, his foot hits the cleat, and both of those double XL coffees go right in the floorboard of the boat, completely drenched in coffee. Luckily, I happened to have, I didn't have it. There just happened to be a 5-gallon bucket on the dock sitting there. Someone forgot. And I was able to just scoop 20 gallons of water and dump it right in the carpet and cleared it out. But if that bucket was not sent from the heavens to be sitting there that morning, I'd probably be divorced, because there'd be a gigantic stain in my wife's boat. But things like that happen all the time. Whether it's that, whether it's, you name it, it happens. You know, and it's not the customer's fault. You know, things happen, accidents happen, and there's really nothing to go wrong with this just non-skid surface here. All I do when it gets dirty, like it is right now, you can see all the cane ash and all that stuff. Yes, the carpet hides some of that, but all I got to do when I get home here is just take some, I've got some array of different soaps and things. I'll scrub it all down, let it sit for 10-15 minutes, drink me a cold one, and then I just literally take a high pressured hose and hose out the entire thing, and it looks good as new. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, well, still on the carpet deal, you just don't have carpet that gets worn out from foot traffic. You don't have carpet that stains. And yes, it may be a little bit more slippery. It might be maybe not as, it doesn't hide all the imperfections as far as dirt and stuff as well, but it's better. It's better at the end of the day. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, as far as still on the work side, I don't care what you say or what anyone tells you, a bass boat is made for 2 people, right? So you're going to have a driver's seat behind the console, and then you're going to have either a second console and a passenger seat. And then, yes, some of them you can put a third seat in between the 2 seats. So you have like a giant bench seat. What does that do if you do that? That means, nope, to get from the from the cockpit of the boat to the back deck, someone's going to step on a seat. So not only are you crammed, not only if you have a group of 2 or 3 people, someone's going to be left being ran around the biggest lake in the state very uncomfortably, but people are going to stand on your seats. They stand on the seats anyway. I don't care what, even if you only have 2, they're going to stand on the seats. People do, the captain does, we do, if you're landing fish and you wear your seats out. So this boat has 2 captain seats here. So they're nice and comfortable bucket seats. You can ask any of my customers that they're dream to ride in if you're in rough water. And not only that, this boat came with this giant bench seat here in the back, which is great. So if I have 3 customers, one can sit there next to me, and I could fit up to 3 back here. I think I have a group of 4 going with me tomorrow. So I'll have 3 on the back and 1 sitting here. And it's just very comfortable. Okay, so that's the biggest thing, especially if you got to make long runs. I'm notorious on my guide trips that I am not a typical fishing guide. I don't poke you out the channel there and fish a mile from the channel or a half mile from the channel to conserve gas. If they're not biting, that 250's rolling and we're going. I mean, I get made fun of all the time because I burn more gas than probably anybody out there, because that's what you're here to do. You're not here to go for a boat ride. You're here to catch fish. I treat every guide trip like a tournament. I'm going to do everything in my power to put you on what I think we need to go on. And a lot of times the lake's rough, it's windy, it's nasty, storms pull up. So I want my customers to be comfortable. I want them to feel safe in the boat. And this was just ideal. Now, yes, there is a cushion on top of my live well that people do step on from time to time. But, it is going to happen. And then the great thing is, if I have multiple people in the boat, this just literally pulls out of these rod holders here. And I'll just put it under these seats here. I'll just get it out of the way, and then you have a whole back deck for my customers to fish on, which is awesome. The other thing, this boat's 22 feet long, so it is longer than your standard bass boat. I know you can buy a 22-foot Ranger or something like that, but this boat's 22 feet long, and it's going to run 70 miles an hour. So I can have the big boat and then still have the tournament speed come tournament time when I need it, which is great. It's got a huge, wide front deck. This is what I meant by fishing like a bass boat. This thing's massive, okay? You could fish 3 people up here, pretty much no problem. And then the other thing is, the gunnels. You can walk the gunnels on this boat. So if a customer's in the back of the boat and he's fighting a big fish and needs to run up to the front, he can run this whole thing. Customers can stand on the gunnels and fish, so they're kind of spread out for drifting through a hayfield, throwing swim jigs and swim baits and stuff. We're not all, don't have to be stacked up here, right? You can kind of just disperse throughout this whole boat, and the boat's super wide. I don't know if you could tell where I'm at, but I mean, she's big. Okay, so plenty of room to fish, Handles rough water great. The other thing, which I can't wait for the summer when this lake gets low, a lot of people don't think of it. This boat not only will float in nothing, it jumps up on plane in nothing. So that was the beauty about my old boat, my old little backcountry, basically a lake and bay. It wasn't the fastest. You know, I only ran about 47 miles an hour, but I could get up in inches of water. So all the bass boats would beat me to the spot. But when they were spending 30 minutes idling out to deeper water, when the lake got low, I was able to jump up and be gone, and I could still do the same thing in this. I'm still waiting to get my new prop. The prop I had on there would let me jump up a lot quicker than this one, but this one still does pretty good. I don't know how shallow I can run in this, but it's shallow. I've ran it in some skinny stuff, and it will float in, I mean, a couple trips when I first got the boat, the lake was super low. I'm going to say, don't kill me in the comments if I'm wrong, I'm going to say 8, 9 inches this boat will float in and fish comfortably in. Might be a little bit wrong, but I don't know how, shallow lets me get up. I've got the, Bob's 6-inch jack plate on here, which I can jump up pretty damn skinny. I'm going to say a foot, maybe like 1.2 or 3, especially if I have, the boat filled to the brim with gas. I can jump up super shallow. So that's another great thing. I can fish anywhere I want, run anywhere I want, and it's going to run and jump up and fish in a lot shallower water than a standard bass boat will. So that's another key feature of the boat. 2 live wells. The big console's nice when it's freezing cold. You could tuck behind that and the wind doesn't eat you alive. And then, you got the console and your 2 front passengers, or you and the passenger, and then the people in the bench seat are protected from the wind also. Got that. Plenty of, for the most part, plenty of storage. There's not tons. I mean, I've got this here, then I've got all my Coast Guard safety stuff in the middle. The front one has nothing, and this is where I keep all my tackle. So that's one of the downfalls of this boat. Not a ton of storage like you have in a bass boat. But I don't carry that much stuff with me anyway. The biggest, if they ask me what's the one thing you don't like about the boat, is that. Not the dirt and the grime from all the cane ash falling after my dad just scrubbed my boat for me while he was staying here. Sorry about that. But the rod lockers, there are none. If they were to put this gunnel and just solidly glass this in so you could fit 6 or 7 rods on each side with a little latch, the greatest boat on planet Earth, without a doubt. Shearwaters do it. Blazer, if you're watching, you would sell loads more of these if there were rod lockers. Now I know what you're going to say. They've got the rod. We've got the rod holders here, which is great, and I do run with them there. But when they get in the way, if you're walking through here and you got treble hooks, you will get snagged on here, and also then they're sticking straight up. So if you got people in the front of the boat casting, you will hit the tips and everything like that. So that's the one thing this boat's missing, is rod lockers, and that's really it. Those work like that. You can see how I've got them laid down here, but your rods do get beat up a lot. You saw in my last video my rod broke. That was an arc rod, but it's a high dollar rod. I've never broken one until then. There's no telling what happens to my rods when you're running 70 in rough water and they're rattling and bouncing around. There are some people that take these boats and on their their bench seat here, they actually have a rod. The stand-up rod holders are on the back, and they'll do it here too, which is nice, and they're out of the way. But then if someone's standing in the back of the boat, you're screwed too. So that's the only real problem with the boat, in my opinion, is rod storage. But it's not a big deal. Like I said, also, if they're down there, people kick them. It's not the customer's fault. I kick them as well. So your rods do get beat up. I'm going to start being real well about putting them in rod sleeves when they're down there. So that's really it. But other than that, that's another big reason. Now, my dad always mentioned to me when I was younger, is you're stupid to not have a boat like this in Florida. Coming from a guy who has a bass boat. My dad can care less about saltwater fishing, but he always said I could, and I have many of times, fish on Lake Okeechobee all day, drop my customers off at 2 o'clock, come home, shower, and not right now because we're pregnant, but my wife would come home and say, why don't we go out to eat tonight and go snook fishing in Stewart or in Jupiter, Florida? My boat is literally hooked up to the truck constantly. This is my truck now, so if you guys see me driving around, say what's up. The wrap's probably gonna come off. This was my wife's truck. She fished the Toyotas and all that, so she had all these sponsors and yippee yab and all that stuff. But not that I don't like these people. I work with these people as well, most of them. But as you can see, this wrap's been on there for years, and it's cracking. So the wrap will be coming off. Hopefully, I'll be wrapping it in something else, and maybe I'll do a video on that. But I could literally come back. You know, she can make the decision. Let's go snook fishing. We can go to dinner with the boat hooked up, drop this thing right in, and we've done everything in this boat. I bring you to the Keys tarpon fishing. We go to the sandbar. Me and her were offshore in this thing, catching kings and tunas and 300, 400 feet of water. And you could do it, you know, and I'm a big snook fisherman. I'm a big saltwater fisherman as well. So I wanted a boat to where it might only be a couple times a year that we decide to go snook fishing ourselves in the boat. Mainly I do it from land, but if we want to go in the boat, we're able to. Also, I can run snook and tarpon trips. I don't run very many. One, because I hate dropping anything in saltwater. This boat's made for saltwater. It's not going to break anything, but saltwater breaks everything. Any of you that fish saltwater know that. So I try to keep it, you know, out of the salt when I can, but I run plenty of snook and tarpon trips as well. I don't do as many, like what I was getting to, because you take 3 days off from this lake, you come back to a completely different lake. So I try to just stay on the lake, especially during the busy season like right now. Now come April, May, June, July, I run snook trips. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know. Just wanted to have my options open. So that's also why I run a boat like this. We were in there just talking about going snook fishing, but we're probably not going to go. So got to work tomorrow, so everything's running good there. As far as on my boat, I don't have any electronics yet. So if you guys have any comments about what electronics you think I should put on there, I'm not going to put anything on the front. Do want to just get like a 9 or something for the dash. A lot of you think I'm crazy for running around this lake with no GPS, but I don't use it. I really probably won't even use it when I get it, but going to fill that space there, get that. I do run a hand-controlled trolling motor because there's really no place to put a foot pedal. And also, I got this one for a hell of a steal. Shout out to Captain Bobby Diaz for had this one laying around. And it works for me. I do prefer the foot pedal when I'm bass fishing, but I don't really feel like there's really nowhere to put a recessed foot pedal in there. So I run this. It's cheaper. It works. It's simpler. It's easy. But that's it. So that is why I run this boat. This is the boat I want, or I wanted, and I really don't regret anything about it, except for the rod lockers, but I knew that going in. Any of you that are looking to purchase one of these, you know, definitely check them out. I drove all the way up to Twin Lakes Marine in North Carolina, damn near Virginia. Without a doubt, the nicest people I've ever dealt with in my entire life. So definitely check them out if you're looking. And that's it. So I appreciate you guys watching. And I guess I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take it easy.